Friends, today we're going to speak about the seventh gift that Judaism gives the world, the universal world, and that is the struggle of minorities all over the world. We know that today minorities are struggling, whether it is in Greece, whether it is in Guatemala, in India, in all the African countries. The minute that you have a sovereign state with either a corrupt or even a democratic type of ruler, the minorities in that country usually suffer, and they suffer for all the failures of the government. They ask or they search for a scapegoat and they drop it on the minorities. And there's a report from 2014 that enumerates that almost in every country there are certain minorities that suffer the shortcomings of the government there. In our portion this week, Vayetzeh, we're talking about the struggle of minorities. There is a beautiful passage in the Haggadah of Pesach that we read on Passover. And Lavan, the brother of Rebekah and the uncle of Jacob, is in his land. And Jacob comes to sojourn in his land to live with him and to ask his daughter's hand in marriage. And there we meet Lavan, and Haggadah of Pesach says that Lavan is worse than Pharaoh. Pharaoh only wanted to kill the males, and Lavan wanted to destroy everything. How is that possible that Lavan is worse than Pharaoh? What is the story there? And we understand that Lavan worked 7 years for Rachel, 7 years for Leah, another 6 years for the sheep and goats that he has and that he accumulated through genetic processing, genetic then. And after 20 years, he becomes a very wealthy man, and he wants to separate from Lavan. All is nice and dandy until then. But when he wants to separate, all of a sudden, everything that he accumulated does not belong to him. And the children of Lavan say to him, everything that is yours really does not belong to you. And he sees that Lavan is not with him like he was before. Something changed. And Lavan chases him and tells him as follows. Lavan tells him, the children, all the children, the grandchildren, he has by then 11 grandchildren and a daughter, all the children are mine. And more than that, all the flock is mine too. All your possessions are mine. You never earned anything. All your work for 20 years is for nothing. That's what Lavan tells Jacob. Why is that so? Because Yaakov is a minority. And when the going gets tough, who is the scapegoat? The minorities, Jacob. And he afflicts him with pain and suffering. And Yaakov, Jacob, keeps his self-dignity, keeps his personal responsibility, and he carries on. He separates between him and Lavan. He goes to the land of Canaan, and Lavan goes back to his way after making a treaty. He meets Esav, his long-lost brother, that wants to kill him, and that meeting is very, very tense. But before that meeting, he sends messengers, and the messengers, he tells them, you're going to be asked 3 questions when you enter a land. And the questions are, who are you for? Are you for us or against us? Are you going to have any national aspirations, or are you going to be as part of the land that you're coming to? And second of all, are you going to disrupt the justice in this land? And third of all, what are you bringing with you? Which contributions are you bringing with you? Or in the language of the verse, it says, Ulemi ele lefanecha. What are all these flocks? Are you going to share them? Are you going to share your wealth and your wisdom? And Yaakov says yes. And more than that, he says, I have lived with Lavan. And Rashi, the famous commentary, says, I have lived with Lavan, but I did not become a ruler there. The word live means galti. Galti is also from the root of ger, of a foreigner. I was always a foreigner in the land of Lavan, and I will be a foreigner in the land of Canaan, because I'm not going to become a leader or a ruler there. You can calm down. Everything is going to be all right, and I will not ask for myself any nationalistic aspirations. And Esav says, okay, you can go along, and Yaakov dwells in Shechem. And there's a beautiful passage in the tractate of Shabbat. What did Jacob do when he first arrived in the city of Shechem in the land of Canaan? There is a dispute. Rav says he created a monetary system. The Amorah Shmuel says he created markets. And Rabbi Yochanan says he created a hygienic system of baths. He contributed and developed the hygienic and the economic and the monetary system of the land that he went into. That was his contribution. And after being a minority in that land and contributing whatever he can, there was a very significant incident with his daughter. His daughter was taken by the son of the leader of Shechem. His name is Shechem, the son of Hamor. And Shechem comes and rapes Jacob's daughter. And her brothers are fuming. The two of them, Reuben, Shimon and Levi, go out and kill all the males in that city. And Jacob is devastated. I said I will not have any nationalistic aspirations. I said that the justice system of the land I'm going to abide by. And look at you. Now everybody's going to look at us minorities and we're in danger. They might come and kill us all. And there's a statement that the brother says, are you going to turn our sister into a harlot? And with that statement, the balance between minorities' rights and minorities' obligations come to full play. Jacob's method is, I promised, and that was always my way, that I have to fulfill all my obligations, whether it's in Lavan, that I did not sleep night and day by watching his sheep and his goats and everything that he has. I was fully obedient and I was fully responsible and I was contributing all the time. That is one side of it. And the second side is that you can keep your self-dignity and you can keep your personal responsibility. But the sons take it one step further and they tell their father, listen, no one can turn our sister into a harlot. No one can turn her into a prostitute, because we also have our rights in this land. And when our rights are broken, we can respond. Jacob corrects them and says, let me fine-tune this balance. The one that can object to a ruler in his land as a minority is only one that is really contributed to society. Then he can request his rights. And the dispute carries on from the time of the Bible until today. What is the right balance between a ruling state and the minorities that dwell in it? And the Torah tells us as follows. The balance starts with Jacob. If you contribute to a land, if you give your wisdom, your wealth, your money, your soil, your toil in that land, then you can demand that people will respect you and people will give you your rights. It does not start from rights of minorities. It starts from obligations of minorities. And when they fulfill their obligations, then they have rights. And Abraham also says that, although God promised me the land, although God promised Jacob the land and Isaac the land, still, Abraham, when he comes to buy the property from Ephron, the cave where he buried his wife, he says, Ger v'toshav, I am a foreigner, although the land belongs to me according to God, but I am still a foreigner. But I want to be a citizen, a toshav. So first I'll fulfill my duties and obligations, then I will request my schuyot, my rights. So here we learn, ladies and gentlemen, about the right balance between the minorities' rights in a country and their obligations. And what we're taking home from this today is that there are many struggles of minorities all over the world and also here in Israel. The right balance has to be, as Jacob gave us the greatest gift. First, you should not have slept for years in order to contribute to a country. You have to throw away all your nationalistic aspirations. You have to keep your self-dignity. You have to keep your heritage, your tradition. That is correct. But first, you have to fulfill the covenant that you have with that state. In saying that, you can actually afterwards demand rights, demand that they don't turn your daughters into harlots, and that they respect you for whoever you are. That's the greatest gift. How to balance the rights and the obligations of minorities.